Today we'll be discussing the difference between a 401k and a Roth IRA. Hello and welcome back to another installment in my personal finance videos. My name is Josh and this is my channel. And if you enjoy my content, please like and subscribe for more content like this. If you have any questions about anything I discussed today, please leave your comments down below and I'll answer them there. Today we'll be discussing the difference between the 401k and a Roth IRA. I will compare them to you, I'll give you the pros and cons, and I'll tell you which one might suit you best depending on your needs. Now I know retirement for people in their early to mid 20s can seem like it's a lifetime away, but it'll come up on you quick. The sooner you start investing into your retirement, the longer your money has to grow and gain compound interest. Now compound interest might be a concept that some of you might not be familiar with, but if you put $1,000 into an investment account and it compounds annually at 3%, that means at the end of the first year you'll have $30 gained. Now if you fast track that 40 years, after that 40th year, you'll have gained $95 just on that single year. Now the way this happens is that the first year you put in $1,000 and then you gain $30. So then the next year your account is $1,030. So 3% of that will be added on, and then the sum of that will be compounded at a 3% rate and so on until you decide to take out your money. Now if you let this $1,000 sit in that investment account, which is compounding annually at 3%, then this $1,000 in 40 years will be worth over $3,000. Now that's just if you have $1,000 sitting there. But if you keep on adding money over the years, or do the limit for Roth IRA, which is almost $20,000, you can only imagine how much money you'll have when you retire. Now the two most common ways to save for your retirement are through a 401k or a Roth IRA. Now let's talk about a 401k first. So a 401k is a tax-advantaged defined contribution account, which are usually provided by your employer. So what this means is that your money that goes into this 401k is put in before it gets taxed. So if you make $50,000 a year and you put $5,000 a year into your 401k, those $5,000 are not taxed, and that might lower you into a different tax bracket because you're not being taxed on those $5,000. So instead of you making $50,000 a year, you make $45,000 a year. Now 401ks are great because they're typically employer sponsored. So your employer might contribute to your retirement investment. So if your company matches you at about 5%, let's say, and you put down $10,000, then $500 will be added on from the company. So you're putting in $10,500 instead of just $10,000. Now in 2020, the limit for the 401k is $19,500, but if you're over the age of 50, you get a bonus. You get to add more to catch up, so you can put in up to $26,000 in that year, which is significantly higher than Roth IRA, which we'll get to in a minute. Now some of the cons with 401k is that you can't take your money out. So once it's invested, it has to sit there and you can't touch it. You can get to it, but you'll have to pay a penalty, but you don't want to take it out. You just want it to grow and save it and not think about it until you are ready to take it out. Another con is that you're taxed when you're withdrawing. So when you take it out, when you're finally retired and you're ready to take out your money, that's when it gets taxed. And depending on what income bracket you're in, it could be higher or lower than before you retired. Another con is that there's forced withdrawals once you reach a certain age. Now let's talk about a Roth IRA. So with the Roth IRA, you can put in your own money. It's post-tax. So once you take it out, which you can start doing at age 59 and a half, it won't be taxed. So any gains you make from here until you retire is not taxed, and it's just your gains that you can spend however you want. Now, a pro on the Roth IRA is that you are able to take your invested money out. So if you put in $6,000 and let's say it grows to $10,000, you can take out the $6,000 whenever you want, and the $4,000 remains in the account. So let's say you put in $6,000 and it grows to $10,000 without any more contributions. So the $6,000 that you initially invested, you can take out whenever you want, and the $4,000 will remain in the account. The downside to this is that you're not able to put more than $6,000 back into the account. So let's say you put in your $6,000 for the year and then you take out $2,000 because you really need the money to pay off a bill. Since you already put in $6,000 for that year, you're not able to put the $2,000 that you borrowed back into the account because you already hit your limit for the year. Now the one downside with Roth IRA is that you can only put in $6,000 in the year 2020. And there's also income limits. So if you make over a certain amount of money, you're not eligible to contribute to a Roth IRA. Now let's run through the pros again for 401k real quick, and I'll list them right here. So it's a pre-taxed investment account. It's employer sponsored and typically employer contribution matched. You get $19,500 of investments that you can put into the account if you're under the age of 50 and $26,000 if you're over the age of 50. And it could lower you in your tax bracket because it's pre-taxed investments. Now the cons for 401k are that you can't take any money out, you are taxed when you withdraw, and you're forced to withdraw at a certain age. Now the pros for Roth IRA is that it's a post-taxed account, so anything you gain from your investments, since it's post-tax investments, none of this is taxed. So any gains you make during the investment time that your money sits there is all yours. No taxes need to be paid. Another pro for Roth IRA is that you can take out your investment at any time, but you can't take out your gains without a penalty. And the cons for Roth IRA is that you can only contribute $6,000 and that there's an income limit. So if you make beyond a certain amount of money, you can't invest into this account. Now that we know more about Roth IRA and 401k, let me just tell you what I think could be best for you. So I personally have a 401k and a Roth IRA. I opened up my Roth IRA recently because I just wanted to diversify a little bit and utilize the pros of each account. So with my 401k, I'm able to get a higher limit of contributions that I can do throughout the year with taxes coming out once I withdraw. And then with the Roth IRA, anything that I gain from that will not be taxed because it's a post-tax investment. So I just like to diversify my investments. Now let's talk about why you might be choosing a 401k or a Roth IRA. So the reason you might want to open up a 401k is if your employer sponsors it. I would highly suggest you sign up for it as soon as you possibly can to maximize their matching contribution that they might be offering, as well as maximizing your overall investments. The reason why you might want to open up a Roth IRA is if you don't have an employer that sponsors a 401k and you want to take advantage of the benefits that a Roth IRA brings. Now, if your employer does provide you with the opportunity to have a 401k, if they sponsor that and you still want to invest and diversify like me, you can do that. That's always a great option. But let's take a minute again to talk about compound interest, just to help you picture the power of compound interest, because it's such a powerful tool that you might not be taking advantage of. So if you put $1,000 into an account, you don't touch it, and it compounds annually at 3%, and you let it sit for 40 years, then this account, not touching it or anything, will be worth over $3,000 after 40 years. Now if you take the same $1,000, you put $1,000 in every year, and it compounds at 3% annually, and then after 40 years you'll have invested $40,000 of your own money, and it compounds annually. So at the end of the 40 years, your account will be worth $75,000, which is almost double your investment. Now let's jump to the big picture here and utilize the $19,500 that you can put into your 401k. If you max out and put $19,500 in, assuming that for 40 years it maintains at $19,500 and doesn't go up like it has been in the past, you will have over $1.4 million. So again, this compounding interest is a huge way to save and grow your investment and have the most amount of money available for your retirement. Now a lot of people don't know how much they need to retire, or it seems too far away, and I just want to say that saving now is a huge thing that you might want to take advantage of to ensure that you have enough when you retire. Now I hope this whole video was helpful and you learned something new, or enjoyed my content, or have questions, and if you do, please leave them down below. But again, if you enjoyed this and you liked the content and the data and found it informative, then please like and subscribe for more content like this. I've got some more videos planned here coming up, an exciting one coming up later this week of a product that I've been super excited about, and I'll tell you more in that next video. I've already given you guys a hint in an earlier video of this future one that I'm doing, which will be coming up here shortly. And I've got another one planned, which I got the idea from one of my Instagram stories where I asked you guys what you want to see, if you have any questions. Now the question that I got that I found could be super useful, I'll display it right here, from my friend Ali, is you're a fresh graduate, what investment should you be making? You get an entry-level job fresh out of college, what investment should you make? I'll be doing a video on this shortly and tell you guys what I think you should be investing and how you should be investing, just giving you tips. So if this is something that you think could be useful, then make sure to subscribe and hit the bell button so you don't miss that video. Now that's all I have for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.